Welcome to another video. This time I was thinking about, doing something a little different, which is makeup. So if you're not into makeup, that's okay. I'm still going to be talking about different things. This is not a tutorial by any means. I am not a makeup professional. I just recently developed some sort of passion for makeup, and it just, I don't know, it filled up my days when I was really depressed, just watching beauty gurus and how they do the different styles of makeup and what is interesting about the brands and all the thought that goes into creating a brand and developing a product. And that attracted me a lot. So if you're interested on the makeup, I'm just going to say a little bit of what I'm doing. I just use a primer on my face, so basically on the sections where I have most pores, which is around here and here. And now I'm using my foundation. I use Fenty foundation. Foundation, it's a process. You really need to try to find the best suiting color for your skin, and there's a lot of brands that don't have undertones on their foundation, so it can be rather difficult for you to find the right color for yourself. So just play around, get some samples in the shop, and hope for the best, I guess. I thought today maybe we can have a little chat about the quarantine and how I am experiencing it, and I would like to know how you are experiencing it as well. If you like to leave it in the comments down below, that would be really nice so we can start a conversation. I have been at home now for more than a month, which is strange. You are so used with the craziness of, getting early, going to work and getting all your things done. And now that I had this 1 month at home, I'll probably be going to work next week. I had a lot of time to think about how I live my life and what are my goals and how am I taking care of my body. And I hope that a lot of people out there also did some thinking onto this perspective. I mean, I've seen a lot of information coming out since 2017. So even though you're seeing all the signs and you are kind of grasping information from here and there, it's still very difficult to understand when it's happening. And I think it's understandable to see how many people are scared and they are not feeling comfortable in this time. What do you think? Are you scared? How are you handling this? I mean, for me, honestly, this concealer, that's how I always dealt on my days. Concealing. Wow, that was bad. Anyways, I concealed a lot of my feelings and thoughts and just kept it in, no one needs to know my troubles. Of course, no one needs to know your troubles, but sometimes it's just good to share to those around you how you've been feeling, if you're feeling overwhelmed, how you're coping with it. And there's nothing wrong with it, but I think at some point we have been sort of on autopilot and programmed, and a lot of the older generations didn't really have the opportunity to talk about their feelings. So it is extremely difficult for them to share their feelings with us, and we just keep on perpetuating this vicious cycle. And I think it's really important right now to talk about how you feel, and it's okay to feel overwhelmed and it's okay to feel depressed. It's part of it. So don't be too fast to judge yourself. Just accept that this is a phase and that you need to work on it. I think as we as a collective are beginning to see and understand and empathize with society as a whole, I think there is a reset button here, that we could go back, and it's not going to be normal anymore, but we could go back and just try to make it a little bit more personal. Now, what do I mean with that? Blending. Oh my god. I can't stand my jokes, but I'm not gonna edit this out. I'll leave it in. Um, Blending in, which means accepting some of the rules and understanding why they are put in place and how we can protect ourselves and at the same time protect the next. I mean, at the end of the day, not everybody has the same financial conditions, emotional conditions, or even, like stability in their own lives. So we shouldn't be so fast to judge. So I believe it's really important for us to be a little bit more compassionate and start to empathize. And that is the word. Sympathy and empathy are two completely different things. And we can go over this on a different video. If you think it's interesting, let me know. But I do believe this is a changing point into history as we know it. I love makeup and I love the transformation that it goes into it. And I'll probably, if I decide to do a professional photo shooting, then I would love to know how it feels like, with only makeup to make yourself completely switch from how you normally look to how, the models and all this celebrities or people who are in the eyes of the public do their makeup to kind of hide certain aspects of their face or their body. And I see nothing wrong with it, whatever makes you feel comfortable. I think if it makes you happy, no one else has anything to tell you, as long as you're not hurting anyone and that you are, being honest with yourself and others, go for it. So now that I put my bronzer, I would just go back to the setting powder. I'm gonna use this flat part of the blender and I'm just going to define this line over here so I have a more snatched cheekbone. I don't use a lot of product because these products are expensive and I'm not going anywhere, so I want to keep this for when I go somewhere, which is never, so I don't even know why am I keeping the products. Quarantine. Here we have had several businesses shut down and just not open at all, which included where I work. I work for a retail brand from France and we do ready-to-wear clothing, and we've been closed since the 18th of March, and it's been surreal. We are okay to go on walks here as long as you keep distance of 1.5 meters from each other. Some stores are still open. It's very scary. I don't know how it's gonna be, how I'm going to feel when I go back to work. But I think from now on, the life as we know it is going to change for sure. We're gonna have to be constantly taking precautions and washing your hands and sanitizing, and until a vaccine or something like that is developed for this, we will not, well, at least I believe, we will not fully step back into how we used to live our lives before. And I think this is something people should be prepared about. And to be honest, I don't really watch much news, but in the world where we live in with social media, it's kind of impossible for you not to be aware of what is happening. But I'm yet to see someone come out and say, this is the plan from when we go back to normal. And I think that is the thing that makes me feel a little bit more uneasy about the whole situation, is how do we prepare people to go back to life in society? This is an important question we should be asking ourselves. But I think it's important not to to go so serious about everything, because that can literally drive you crazy. And that is the list of things that we need right now. A lot of people are at home and a lot of people are having to go to work still and risking their health and the health of those surrounding them and people who are just coming and passing by, because this virus is inactive in a lot of people. So you may be infected, but you don't know, and you don't present any major symptoms. So that is something that is actually quite scary in the sense of the whole pandemic right now. It's so now that I have my primer, I'm gonna start with the eyeshadow. Trust me, I have no idea where this is taking me. I am very creative in my mind, but when it comes to putting things into action, they don't always come out like I plan to, and I think that is absolutely fine. Don't judge yourself if you do this. It takes practice, it takes commitment, so we are on this journey. I started this video, now I'm gonna finish no matter what. I truly do believe that, it's gonna come to a point in which we all will have to make choices, and we will have to start thinking, okay, is this the best plan of action for me right now? Is this the person I can trust into running the country, for an instance? I think, or I wouldn't, it's not that I think, but I would hope more people would start thinking like that, because in all honesty, if we had given more time and thought into how the politicians are actually dealing with the most pressing issues in society, which is health and education, I mean, no one is safe from it. There is first, second, and third world countries, and we are all suffering from the same thing: lack of education, lack of healthcare, and even so, we think that we are more educated. Actually, not so much. I mean, you can see the protests that are happening in America. Let's not even go about Brazil, because Jesus, that drove me so mad. I was so upset. Because, at the end of the day, I am not against you expressing your point of view and how you feel about things, but doing that, you are literally putting in danger the people who are already in danger, which is the healthcare workers. They are the ones who are constantly dealing with this. They cannot go home to see their families. And that is reckless. That is irresponsible. And, personally, I cannot understand what would motivate someone to do that. Especially going in front of the hospitals and making noise. I mean, you have other kind of injured people in there as well. It's not just, people who have been affected by the virus. It's all other issues as well. Society didn't stop, it's economically we might have, but people still get injured, people still have issues, they still have diseases. So it's kind of insensitive. It's not kind, it is insensitive for you to do that. So please, if there's anything you can take from this video, I would love for it to be that you be more aware of how your behavior and how your actions have a much bigger impact on society than you think. Because this is exactly what the virus has shown us. One person infects two, two infects four, four becomes eight, eight becomes 16, and the next thing you know, you have hundreds of thousands of people. But I do believe when it comes to the sense of sharing your opinions, you should be more careful on how you share them and actually put some thought into it, Please, if you disagree with me, I'm fine with it. Carry on as you feel like you should. But the only thing that I wanted to put out there is that We should be more responsible with what comes out of here and how we're acting and behaving around others. Because sometimes one thing you say may not be hurtful to you, but they might be very, very painful to someone else. So I think this is one thing that the quarantine is going to bring to people, is that you will have a little bit more higher awareness of how you perceive the environment around you and how you are dealing with certain subjects and issues. I think this is probably the worst makeup video you have ever seen. You can't see anything that I'm doing, you're just listening to me talk, but that was the purpose, wasn't it? It wasn't a tutorial. So the final thoughts I have on this whole quarantine situation is we have to take all the positive things from what happened here and really think about it and see what we can apply in our lives from this point forward. But most importantly, the negative parts of it, be it personally, be as a community, be as a society, we need to be more self-aware, and we need to be putting more pressure on those people out there that we elected to make the decisions for us. We need to be more engaged in politics. And I think a lot of people take politics and religion in such a pedestal that you cannot discuss it. Because if you are having a conversation about politics and if you're having a conversation about religion, people will take it extremely personally. And of course, it's a personal choice, but we should be able to have a healthy discussion about what is good and what is not good for the community as a whole. Of course, there are certain things that will make me more interested in one candidate or in one religion than the other, but we should be a little bit more critic of what is best, not only just for me, but what can generate a positive outcome for X and Y and Z. I don't want to feel like I am pushing them on you or anything. And I am terrible with confrontation. So please don't take this in the wrong light. Under any conditions do I want to tell you what to do. We are free to do what we want to, but I just wanted to, bring a little bit more of awareness and a little bit more of light into the situation, because sometimes we are so entertained, we are so numb and out of ourselves that we forget to think, what is the important message lying beneath all of this? So I just want this to be a way for us to maybe be more connected to each other, and for us to be able to have a clear communication with each other. I personally don't really like to make my lips look bigger. I just like to make them look even, because my face is uneven. I have one side that is bigger than the other. One lip is a little bit more like this. So sometimes when I'm looking for these recordings, I'm like, oh, it looks like something went wrong. I laugh so I don't cry. Yeah, I think it's looking pretty okay. What do you think? What did you think of the things that we discussed today? I'm really interested in hearing your opinions, so if you can drop me a comment down below with anything really, suggestions, what did you appreciate, what did you think I should, get more knowledge on before talking. I try to be very careful when I'm talking about things, because like I said, if I'm going to be out here saying to you, about empathy and things like that, of course, I should be the first one to be applying these principles into the way that I talk and the way that I communicate with people. And I try my best Everybody has their days and everybody has their issues. So just try to be compassionate and kind towards yourself first, so that you can reflect that into other people. And to finish this up, don't forget to set your makeup. Ooh, it's not really hot, so I don't do it all the time, but I do like to set my makeup if I'm doing something a little bit more special, something a little bit more, that took me effort and time. So I want that to stay in place. I let it dry, obviously, but especially because my concealer is creasing, uh, I just go in back with the blender and just kind of lock it into place to guarantee, that later on this will not be a bigger problem than it already is. Okay, so I am going to change this attire and then I will show you how this looks like in a better setting. It's not perfect, but I really like it. If you enjoyed this, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. So this is it for me now. See you next time. Bye bye.